It's ridiculous. We've been doing this 4 years and we feel like newbies. All right, y'all, today is the day. Feels like launching all over again. Got a new truck and a new camper. New to us on both of those. Trying to get a new to us camper all ready to go. You've seen some of the renovation stuff. Trying to get the new to us truck, get Clifford ready for the road, and get the auxiliary fuel tank installed and toolboxes, and try and figure out where everything's gonna go. So we're almost done with that. Got to finish up loading a few things. We are gonna hit the road again, making our way to New Hampshire. We're excited about hitting the road, but that's also tempered with, you know, having to say goodbye to our boys and family here. So we're gonna do that this morning and then we're gonna take off. So usually it feels a little better by then. Also today, we are gonna answer a question from a viewer about when to launch, or if you should launch, or if you should try full-time RV living. Stay tuned.
Not looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we waited for. Oh, take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Be free. Be free with me. Be free.
All right, our first attempt at setting up the pickup truck looks like this. This is Clifford's new setup. So we installed a 100-gallon fuel tank right there with a manual valve down there, and under here is an electric valve and a fuel pump. And it's hooked to a switch right here under the dash. And then we took this toolbox and moved it back a little bit to fit the tank. We had good clearance on it before. We should have good clearance now. We'll keep an eye on that if we have to make a tight turn at, say, 90 degrees or so. But the rail that used to be here, it will be back. It cleared plenty good, and it comes to about there. Then we got a couple fuel tanks and a propane tank. We got a pipe mounted in for holding our chains. That's come in handy sometimes. And we got some jack stands, and all that can be cabled to the hitch. Generator is cabled out to the hitch, and compressor. Down the road, we may put the compressor and the generator locked up under the fifth wheel, but right now, this is what we're gonna start with. When we have more time, we can look deeper at that. So we are open to suggestions on that, or good ideas that you all have used in the past. We got blocks right here in this tub, and some odds and ends up there in that tub with little value to be stolen. Then we got the gray hose right here. This toolbox here used to come up to here, and my son Wyatt cut it off down here. We trimmed the bottom half and put it up in there. And then we've got some screws, self-tapping screws to hold that together. We've got the tools and such locked in there. And of course, that is bolted down good and padlocked. Okay, so we're gonna get hooked up and hit the road. Relaunching in a big way.
So this process is like a lot more frustrating, I guess, than with our old camper, just because it's a whole new truck and a whole new rig. And we had our other rig for 5 years, so we had a process. We could get unhooked and hooked up in like 15 minutes or so, and we could be all set up within the hour of getting here. But it's taking us a really long time to like make sure we like just check everything, because we don't have our checklist yet. So we have to check everything like 3 times. We have to be very careful, and we have to just relearn a whole new process. It's just so difficult, I guess. I don't know. And it's a little bit more frustrating and very slow. I'm not a very patient person, so I guess when I prayed for patience, this is what God gave me. So.
About to leave, already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking, we'll get away to a place where we don't know. about to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Be free. Be free with me. Be free. Not looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we waited for.
It's me. Your bro.
Your bro. All right.
Take 538.
All right.
I don't know, guys.
Zhuzh. Quiet. We're trying to record our program. Yeah. All right. Okay.
You don't need to do that.
As promised, we're going to discuss a question that a viewer asked earlier this week on the video. So John says, my family and I are looking at getting out of living in a house and buying a school bus and converting it. How do you know if it's the right time to do it? We have a dog and a cat. Any recommendations on full-time RV living? The basic question is looking at getting out of a house and into full-time RVing. So that's what we're going to kind of discuss today. That's a big question.
It is.
And we're not going to sit here and tell you you should or you shouldn't full-time RV.
No.
It's got to be a personal decision, and you weigh the risks and the rewards for it. But we will tell you about our experience with it and our thoughts on how it is for us and how it was. And we've been full-time RVing for 4 years now.
Yeah.
And we're not looking back. We look at today is basically sort of like a relaunch. It feels almost like starting over again because we have a whole different setup. We have a different truck, which is a completely different animal than either of the trucks we've had before. The fifth wheel is totally different, hooking up, towing, all of it. And it's all good things, but it's just like we're learning all over again.
We feel like newbies.
We really do. It's ridiculous. We've been doing this 4 years and we feel like newbies. We also just left what was our hometown when we launched 4 years ago. And so the parallels are just crazy.
Yeah. So when we started, we were not ready to sell the house and do this full time forever. I remember when we were talking about it, and at first it was just like, oh, it would be so great if we did this, let's do this. And then every time we would go camping, weekend camping or, a week long, we would get close to the exit, our exit that our home was on, and be like, we could keep on driving. Yeah. We could do this. We could just keep on driving. And so really it just got harder and harder to go home. Right. I think. And we had a beautiful home. Yeah. Like we loved where we lived, but when we were like, okay, let's seriously talk about this, I can remember myself getting scared or stressed or flustered and being like, finally I said, I'll give you a year. Yeah. I can't think about doing this any longer than 1 year. So that made it a little bit more manageable for me, because I knew then we had a plan that if we hated it, we would fall back on just coming back home.
Right. It doesn't have to be forever. Like really everything in life almost. It doesn't have to be forever. You know, it's okay if you can have a plan to try something and then have a backup plan if it doesn't work. For us, it was come back, move back into the house, and, you know, get our jobs back, which would totally been possible.
But then as we got out there on the road and we hit our 6-month mark.
I want to back up for a minute. I can remember, I think you hit on something that was, you know, we were RVing. We were going in the RV, and we began to like being in the RV better than we liked being in the house. And I remember sitting at the top of our driveway where we parked our camper, sitting at the table and thinking, why can't we live in here? It's everything that we need.
Yeah. And a lot of our planning happened at the top of our driveway in our RV.
In our RV, right? So if you have an RV or you have that school bus, I mean, there's no reason that you couldn't buy a school bus and start converting it and try and live in it. But do that while you're working your job or while you're living in the house. But you don't have to just say, hey, this is what I'm doing.
And it is scary. You can go back and watch our video the night before we launched, and we were terrified. Like all 4 of us, we were terrified. But we love it, you know. And we're not gonna sit here and tell you it's all roses and, you know, everything is great and there's no
rainbows
problems.
And unicorns.
Yeah, because it's not. I mean, you have stresses, you have things that don't always work out, or, you know, things that are a little bit scary, but so does living in a house. So just because, you know, you live in a house doesn't mean you have a stress-free life. Just because you're living in an RV and traveling, you have a stress-free life. Right.
And I would say, and this is a good chance to clear up. A couple weeks ago, I had a t-shirt on that one of our t-shirts said Camper Size Living. It said, you don't have to believe in Jesus to full-time RV. But I didn't realize the camera didn't show the rest of it. And the rest of it says, but it really helps. Okay, so you don't, right? Anybody of any faith, any stripe, no faith, you can full-time RV. But for us, having the knowledge that God has a plan for us did play into and does play into our everyday life. So if you're someone that needs everything to be the same all the time, that's where you find your solitude, it might not be for you. There's constant change, constant decision making.
Right.
You know, we've heard people talk about decision fatigue before. Absolutely. We're still deciding as we go, even throughout the day, traveling today. So if you don't like making decisions or trying to figure out new things, or even going to a different Walmart and figuring out how it's laid out, grocery stores.
Because that really is one of the biggest challenges.
It really is. I was in a Walmart in South Carolina and went to go get something and went the direction I would have gone to a Walmart in Tucson, Arizona. You know, I was like, oh, shoot, I'm in South Carolina, not Arizona.
There's no more 15-minute Walmart shopping trips. It takes significantly longer because you have to learn a whole new layout.
But life hack, the Walmart pickup, boom. That's how you save the time.
Yeah, but you still have to plan ahead of time for that. That's not always.
Yeah. So
what's the answer?
The answer, I think, is that it's going to be individual to you. If you are used to taking risks in life, and you and your family or your spouse or whoever you're traveling with like to sort of take risks and do things. I mean, we started a little farm. We moved out of state when we first got married at 18 years old, across the country. We've moved several times and went all the way across the country to take a job or an opportunity. So we already had done some risk taking. So if you're someone like that, then this might be a thing for you. You figure out how you're going to make your income. For us, we've tried some different things throughout. We delivered RVs. We've done the Christmas tree farm. We've done work camping. And for us, we've settled on the work camping. Seems to be...
We enjoy the work camping.
Right.
That would be a good point right there. You need to figure out what your must-haves are. You know, usually it's income, insurance, and
then what kind of rig you're going to go with. Right. And I know that we agree. We've talked about this a lot of times, and most folks that are experienced with full-time RVing, at least 2 years or more, would agree that the more debt-free you can be, the more free you're going to be, right? If you want to go out and get that, $75,000 brand new fifth wheel and that $75,000 brand new pickup truck, you can do that and it's going to be great, but you also got to figure out now how are you going to pay for that? And if your plan fails, then what? How are you going to pay for that? And so that's why we've really settled on, and we certainly were blessed with this opportunity here with the camper, to go with older vehicles. The Clifford, our truck, is actually our dream truck. It's the one we've been looking for. He's pretty. Now, he's going to get prettier. Y'all wait. But there's a list of things, and we'll do a video on that, I'm sure. We were looking for exactly what Clifford is. Just a good, solid, older truck that we could pay cash for. There's no payments on it. The insurance is lower. The fifth wheel, there's no payments on it. I mean, that's when you're just paying insurance, cell phone bills, what have you. So then whatever you want to add on there, your subscriptions. So if you have the means to pay for big payments, go after it. But if you don't, you might want to consider what can you pay cash for and go that route. In the case of John, he's talking about doing a bus. May want to get that bus, start converting it, and do that while you're where you're at, if that's possible.
I agree. Yeah.
And maybe try it temporarily, if that's an option for you. So John said his family and him are looking at doing this. Well, another thing you have to consider is, your kids and their schooling or that sort of thing. For us, we really like the homeschooling. We prefer it, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Over the public school.
Our kids went back and forth as we were getting ready to go. They would be super excited about it, and then they would get super nervous and be like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to go. Right. And then, the next week they'd be super excited about it. And then I would say up until this last 2 years, the first 2 years, even Autumn was a little bit like, I think it would be nice to settle down somewhere. But then as soon as we were somewhere for an extended period of time, she'd be like...
1 month or 2 or 3.
Yeah, she'd be like, okay, it's time to go. I'm ready to go. Where are we going next?
Yeah.
So now she can't imagine giving it up either.
And I think Jacob enjoyed some of the adventures, if you go back and watch our videos when Jacob was with us. But I don't think he ever really... He's more of a homebody. I don't think he really liked full-time RVing as much as Autumn and Kimberly and I did. Right. So each child is going to be different. What are the considerations as far as if you've got kids that need to be educated? Well,
that would really almost kind of frame your whole travel experience, because if you're road schooling for, educational purposes, that will help map out the things that you want to see and where you want to go. We did not choose an online curriculum because internet is so sketchy out there. I didn't want to be stressing because she has an assignment due and she's not able to get it submitted. I didn't want to deal with any of that. So we just do a book curriculum. It's all, printed out for us, and we just do that.
The curriculum that Kimberly has Autumn involved with is 100% different than the online schooling that you're seeing a lot of kids do right now. It seems much more engaging than what I've seen with a lot of the online stuff. Autumn kind of takes charge of her learning.
And so the thing that I would recommend is to get plugged into some of the Facebook groups, the road schoolers, the unschooling groups, the full-time families. That you need to find your community.
Yep, and get involved with those groups, the full-time families or any of the full-time RVing groups, Facebook groups, or watching YouTube videos like this one, and watch other YouTube videos of people that are experienced with it. See the trials that they're going through, see the victories, see the little RV life hacks that they come up with. That's what we did. We watched a lot of YouTube and researching it, and Kimberly got involved with the Facebook groups ahead of time. We got a chance, actually, we were talking about it with some friends of ours tonight. We just had the best day ever, right? Just out riding four-wheelers and just having a blast with our friends Al and Janine. who we've met because of full-time RVing and YouTube, and they've just been awesome hosts. Had some dinner with them, and I'm sitting here getting ready to answer this question, and I'm like, why wouldn't we full-time RV? Look at the day we just had, and you can have lots of these days.
Right.
Briefly, we got the chance to meet the Russos out at the Desert Bar this last winter in Quartzsite. I just told them thank you, because we watched them along with some of the other ones that everybody knows, Less Junk, More Journey, Loloho, some of them. That helped to inform us and kind of give us an idea of what we were getting into. And we found most of that advice to be solid advice and good experiences. So we watched them and then took the leap, and now we're doing it for ourselves. And we couldn't be happier that we are. I don't think we see an end in sight as far as traveling, do we?
No.
Yeah. So we may look at doing some kind of a little home base to dip in and out of, from time to time. But with our kids and family scattered to all four corners of the country, and so much out there to see and so many friends that we've made in this life, the full-time RV living life, I don't see any stop anytime soon.
That's right.
All right.
I hope that answers your question. I feel like we were all over the place.
Yeah. Thank you, John, for asking the question. And that's why I responded and asked if you mind if we do a video, because it is kind of all over the place.
Right.
There's a lot to consider.
If you're considering this, find your why. And then if it's a big enough why and you really want to do it, you'll find your way.
Wow. That's like really deep. So, in the comments down below, let us know, what is your why? If you're considering doing this, or if you're already doing this, let us know. What is your why? Knock it off. Okay, you know what? We'll put you on camera. How about that?
In my bonnet, you're not putting me in camera.
Autumn doesn't want to be on camera on her bonnet.
All right,
in her bonnet.
Stop.
So. All right, so stop boogie woogieing. Stop! Making me mad. Man, your shenanigans. If you're considering full-time RV living, or you already do full-time live in an RV or travel nomadically, whatever that looks like, a bus, a van, what have you, leave in the comments down below, what is your why? So what is our why?
I think our why is just to go out and meet people and have, great experiences.
100%. And the bonus that we found while we were going after our why is time. Without everybody running off all different directions every morning, we're finding time with our family. We have the day together, we have the mornings together, we're not nearly as rushed. We get a lot of time back with our family. So
thanks for sticking around. I know that was long and wordy.
Why are you looking at me?
Here, look, Max has been here wanting to be part of the video. Come here, Max.
Here he comes. There he is. He's been down here trying to push his way in this whole time. Hi, buddy. All right. Appreciate you guys sticking around. If you found value in this video, please consider subscribing. Give it a thumbs up. And as always, leave a comment. We love reading all the comments, and we will try and get back to as many as we can. Thank y'all, guys. We're going to have a good night. We hope that you have a good night. We'll catch up with you next time. Bye. Say bye, Matt. Max is sleeping already. Good night, y'all. sweet. Did you have fun riding around UTV today? Good night.